Welcome back to a special episode of Critical Reactions. Today is Christmas Day, and for those who celebrate the Christmas tradition and holiday, you probably, as I did, opened up gifts today. And I am definitely in a giving mood, as I usually am, and I feel like giving back to the community, which has helped me grow so much. So, I figured I would give you guys a pretty big gift. This thing's pretty large. Now, what are we going to find in here? You guys aren't here, so I'm going to have to open it myself. Now, what is this? This looks like a car bomb reaction. So we're going to do that today. It is the most requested band ever on my channel. And this is my gift to you, finally, everyone who's been asking for it, a car bomb reaction. But first of all, we can't do it here. This is not familiar to me. This is probably not familiar to you. This is not where I like to listen to music. So, we're going to use a little Christmas magic. We're going to go to a new area. All right. So that was pretty cool. Did not know I was a magical being, but I found out that I am. So, yeah, that's what we're doing today, is some car bomb. So, let's pull this guy up. Doing things a little different. This guy is over on this side today. And if you can see the mess behind me, please ignore it. Christmas was explosive. So, yeah, it's probably a mess. All right, let's get into this. This is a Car Bomb Secrets Within. I went and looked. There's 80, 90 requests for this band. Just easily the most requested band, period, for the channel. And I just kind of, nothing real scientific, just kind of eyeballing it. It looked like Secrets Within was one of the most requested songs, but there were quite a few that were very requested. So I hope I got a right one. This one seems to be fairly new. It was uploaded on October 2016, so only 4 years ago. I don't know. Let's get into this. Let's see what these guys got. Ooh, that backbeat accent. Maybe that's not a backbeat accent. I think we just got some wild tempo changes going on. I'll never get over those big squeals. really like that triplet into the quarter notes into the eighths. Sounds real good together. All right, that was definitely something for a Christmas morning. So, we've talked on this channel a couple of times about tracks that are just so phenomenal. I'm just really into them that it doesn't feel like they're as long as they are. Some of these 7, 8, 9, 10 minute songs, it just goes by, right? This is not one of them. Uh which is very interesting. There's a lot of things in here that are really cool from a compositional standpoint. But it doesn't come together for me completely. And I think I know why, but I really want to go into some of these things that, as usual, I want to be a bit unbiased here. I want to approach some of the things that are done well, but also come at it from my personal tastes and listening and kind of explore the things that I'm not too fond of. So, um, first of all, we're going to focus on some of the stuff they do very well. Um, Time signature changes, heavy rhythmic components, really quick staccato notes, synergistic staccato sections, which is to say when everybody's playing the same really sharp, really quick rhythm, and the spacing between the notes is equal for everybody, and it gives it this chugging motion that the entire band is a part of. If anybody um, kind of flubs their release even a little bit, the sharpness, the power of those very quick short notes loses that effect. And the fact that the bass, the guitar, the drums are all, I mean, drums are kind of, you just hit it. You have a perfect release on every strike. But the bass and guitars, they really got to mute those real quick, or begin the next note if it's the same note or the same string that they're kind of moving on. Um, yeah, it takes a lot of work to get that sort of synergy, syncopation, and just overall workmanship together, kind of getting that cooperative element. So yeah, those are things that they do very well. Even the singer gets in those rhythmic qualities every once in a while. They also do sort of an ethereal vocal sections that work very well with these, which is interesting. It provides a little bit of contrast to those harsh vocals that are being used for most of the song. You get these short segments that are a little more melodic, and it kind of feels like the singer is a ghost kind of sitting above the track and just has this nice ethereal weightlessness to them over the really harsh, really heavy instrumental work going on underneath it. So that's a really interesting like contrast going on there that we don't see in the instruments. We really don't see many of the instruments kind of lose that heavy harshness. The guitars, bass, the drums, all of it kind of sticks with this real heavy like strength throughout the entire track. We don't ever kind of see them relinquish it the way that the singer does. Um, so yeah, they do a lot of things very well. Um, and they find a lot of ways to bring in variety to very similar ideas. A lot of this is chugging on a pedal note. I can't call it a pedal note because sometimes we go under it, like we get the do do, and they bend it down under the pedal note. So I have to kind of do a little bit of research into a repeat. What is a pedal note when it's not the lowest note? Or can a pedal note also be anything that's repeated and kind of like an anchor? Actually, do we have, is there a phrase called an anchor note? Because that's kind of what I feel here. We're anchored at this specific note. Sometimes we'll go above it, sometimes we'll go below it, but a lot of it is riding on rhythmic concepts of this anchor where we always return to. I don't know if pedal notes technically work within that framework or not, but and for this video, we're going to call it an anchor note. I just coined that, I think. Maybe I've heard it somewhere. Maybe that's why it popped in my brain. I don't know. Um, but yeah, we sit on these anchor notes and then we bend under them or we go above them and you get some crazy chaotic dissonant runs, but a lot of the song is sort of galloping on these pedal notes and or maybe even chugging, I think would be a better terminology for it. um and it's just, there's so much of this and it doesn't get boring. It started to wear on me a little bit at the end. I mentioned that we've looked at songs that just did not feel like they were as long as they were, and that this is the opposite. This song, I felt like it should have ended 5 minutes earlier, and the song's only 5 minutes long. It felt so long for me. And part of that comes down to the fact that almost every section of the song is about this chugging. But I will give them credit because they do find interesting ways to use it. Like I said, sometimes they'll go under it, they'll bend down below the anchor, sometimes they'll go above it, sometimes they'll have a run. The drum changes up. Sometimes it's just snare, sometimes it's just bass with the snare emphasizing specific beats. Sometimes there are quarter note splash cymbals going on behind it. They're always finding a way to change, manipulate, sort of add some embellishment to the sections. Maybe they pick a different note to ride on. They just have a knack for constantly coming up with new ideas to freshen up an old one. However, though, that old idea does grow a bit on me. It shows up so often, and I was done with it around the middle of the track. Um, I I I do want to praise them for the musicianship, the performance of it. I'm sure it is quite a bit of work to play that. It's just a lot of quick strumming, and you can't just keep going. It's like you got to get the rhythm down, and then you also have the um, what is that? The overall strength to the endurance to do it for an entire set, especially if this is what they do. If this chugging is in all their songs, they have to have this endurance for an entire set. So, yes, there's definitely some praise to be given on the performance side of this. Musically, though, it just doesn't. All right, so part of this is that the music didn't really strike me, but I also came in from the wrong point of view. Um, my headspace was kind of hoping for something that mixed heaviness with jazz or classical composition. So we had the sound of metal with some of the compositional techniques, especially how Car Bomb was often brought up when we looked at bands like Thank You Scientist and Periphery, and I think they popped up in the Tesseract videos, and a lot of these bands that I really enjoyed for their compositional aspect, not their technical aspect, and how they merged and blended. Oh, who's another one? Protest the Hero. These guys popped up a lot in Protest the Hero, and I was just really expecting those melodic ideas to be married with the metal ideas, and it didn't happen. Maybe I just picked the wrong song, which could happen. Like I said, there was 80 requests to go through, and I picked the one that seemed to be the most popular. But this song lacked a lot of melodic elements, and I really I almost want to say need melodic aspects to my music, whether that is in the guitars or it's in another instrument or it's in the vocalist. The only times we felt any sort of melody was in the ethereal vocal parts, and those vocal parts were also mixed down, and they felt in contrast to the heavy rhythmic elements that were going on behind it. So it was more like an aside rather than a focus. And I think that this concept of heavy rhythmic chugging would work within a segment of a larger song, a more varied song. I think it would be a nice contrast to something else that you could pull out, maybe something that was a little bit more jazzier or a little bit more compositionally sound as far as harmony. Now, I do not want to belittle their compositional ideas. The way that they can not only change between so many different time signatures and tempos, maybe just tempos. I don't know. The tempos were so varied, but I think I still felt a primary four beat going out throughout this track. So maybe it wasn't time signatures, but definitely their tempo. The way that they can switch from even just minor things, and then we end up with these interesting like triplet portions to these, typically four pulse ideas, and it feels jarring. And I even mentioned at the beginning, I was like, hey, I think that's, they're pulling some weird triplet thing in the background, and honestly it was just a a tempo change, and those were still the quarter notes. So that was interesting. So some of these tempo shifts are actually extremely subtle, and it's like I said, there's some genius to that, especially when we look at stuff like transitioning from the fast rhythmic concepts to the sludge sections, and it just brings the whole song down. But it never feels out of place. We don't have any proper transitions, but it doesn't feel jarring when they happen. Like the transition going into it, maybe they are chugging on eighth notes and then they pull in some quarter triplets that kind of pull that tempo down to where it smoothly transitions into the new slower tempo, and they have plenty of these happening everywhere. It's actually masterfully done. So I'm not going to take away any of their compositional skill. I'm not saying that they're not compositionally fantastic, right? They have a knack, at least in this song. Like I said, this is only one song. I don't know what else they do. Maybe I just picked one of their heavier, more technical songs. Yeah, taking Periphery as a band. If I listen to MK Ultra, first of all, I would be very confused by the ending, but also as an introduction, that is one of their heaviest, most brutal songs, just complete work of dissonance, and it is not entirely indicative of what they do. So I suppose that could happen here. This might just be their heaviest, most rhythmically complex song, and maybe they do work with melody more often, and they were just experimenting with tempo in this one, and that's fine. Definitely. I've talked before that with these reactions, I don't get a lot of context. Some of the context is why the song was written, the backstory to the purpose of the song, the lyrics. I actually don't pick up on a lot of lyrics, especially with harsh vocals like this. But there's also the context of the album and the disc and their entire discography. How does it fit in the album? Is this the heavy high point of the album where everything else is melodic? Have they written melodic stuff all throughout their lives and they wanted to make a heavy album? Any of this is possible. We looked at Loon from Periphery 3. I pull a lot of stuff from Periphery because they are one of the bands I'm most familiar with that also has an extremely varied library. Um, but Loon is very lighthearted, very uplifting, has very poppy vocals, and that whole album kind of goes with that vibe. They have some heavier stuff, but it is a lot lighter than everything else they've done, and there's a reason for that. The album they did before that was soul crushing. It was a hard album for them to write, and they just wanted to write some fun stuff again. So I'm missing the smaller context why the song was written, but I'm also missing the larger context of what was written before it as far as albums go, what was happening in their lives at the time, stuff like that. So I am missing a lot of context. I'm not coming out and saying Car Bomb only writes this music, but I am looking specifically at the song, and I need to talk about the fact that there just isn't much harmony in it. As disappointing to me as that is, especially given how popular they are in my requests and what bands I've associated them with based on what songs were the comments for requests were on. So I definitely came into the wrong headspace. I was hoping for something that kind of married the heavier sound with some of the jazzier stuff. So unfortunately, I did come in. I wasn't meeting the song on its own terms to begin with. I slowly slid into the mind frame I needed to be in for the song, but by that time, I was also kind of over what they were doing. A lot of that heavy rhythmic, just kind of riding out a anchor note and kind of playing something at the end of the bar. It works for a short bit of time. This band honestly reminds me of like a mix of Pantera and Meshuggah and like the crazy insanity of tempo changes that we saw in Protest. I think it was Protest the Heroes Blood Meat. But it's like this weird mix of 90s metal with modern prog metal and a little bit of like just the slightest hint of like some punk thrown in there or some hardcore, not necessarily punk, hardcore. And it just this song just did not strike me. It's a really cool combination of things. I really appreciate the performance and some of the compositional techniques. Like I said, I'm not taking away anything from their composition. They do what they do extremely well. Um, but it doesn't exactly strike my enjoyment and what I look forward to in music. And really I could boil it down to missing that melodic component. So that's that's Car Bomb, the band that everybody's told me that I'm doing a disservice by not checking out and that it's right up my alley, and this was not. Um I have said before with several bands, I'm not giving up on this band. I'm not writing them off based on a single song. Not only could the rest of this album be entirely different, but they also have an entire discography. I'm going to assume it, maybe like 3 or 4 albums. I don't know. They have more albums though, and every album could be wildly different tonally, compositionally, sonically, thematically. Like there's so much that can change between albums. So all I'm saying is that this specific car bomb is not for me, at least not in a vortex. Now, maybe if I check out their album Meta, it says in the description, maybe I'll enjoy this within the context of everything else. Maybe this is a specifically, you know, hard, heavy, rhythmically accentuated track within a larger idea, and it works in the album. I mentioned MK Ultra earlier from Periphery. I'm not a huge fan of the song, but within the album, I absolutely love listening to it when I do a cover to cover. It sounds so good in its position, in its context. when you're listening to the entire story. It just fits so nicely. But I would never listen to it on its own. It is not my typical listening, and that might be where this fits in, where it's just not my cup of tea on its own, but I might enjoy it within the context of, the whole album. So, I have finally done Car Bomb on the channel. I hope everyone is happy with what I did. I feel really bad for this band to be so widely requested and it just not strike me. And I had to mostly, I really had to go into some of the stuff I didn't like about it. Um, it just, that is not a good feeling when everybody's like, you're gonna love this. And I'm like, I'm not keen on this. But it is what it is. It's partially my fault for kind of randomly picking this song, eyeballing it. Maybe I should have looked at what's, you know, gone and did like this whole hour long worth of research and chronicled every single request for it and what bands they came off of and kind of weighted it that way and picked the one that I thought might work best based on the song that it was requested on. Maybe that would have worked, maybe it wouldn't have. I don't know. But this is where you guys come in. You can fix this issue. We have checked out a Car Bomb song, and you know what I didn't enjoy about it, and you know what I wanted more out of it. You guys hit me up in the comments. Car Bomb fams, Car Bomb gang, hit me up. Let me know what song I need to check out from them, knowing what I'm looking for and what I didn't think worked in this one for me personally. All right? And next time we check out Car Bomb, it'll be something a little bit more tailored to my tastes, and I can better explore them, I will say. Uh, so yeah, hit me up with that. Let me know what I should check out. That wraps this one up. You can also hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you thought about this, if you enjoyed them. I get like a Meshuggah light feel out of them, so I think a lot of the people who enjoy Meshuggah and Animals as Leaders are going to enjoy this one. So I'm kind of curious if you fall into either one of those groups. If you enjoyed this, you can let me know in the comments as well. See if I'm kind of spot on with that guess or not. Otherwise, you can check out the description. There's a bunch of links adjacent to the channel, such as the Patreon if you would like to join the Discord or vote on future bands and themes. There's also a link to blocked videos and some other stuff in there. Just click in the description, go check it out. There's a couple buttons under that as well, a like, a subscribe, and a bell. They help out the channel immensely if you would like to be notified when I put out stuff. Maybe you enjoy what I'm doing and you're like, hey, I don't want to check the site every day. Something should let me know when this guy puts stuff out. That's how you do it, man. Subscribe and hit that bell. You'll get notified when I put new videos out every day, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC, 10 p.m. UTC, except for this week. I will be back next week, though, starting January 4th. All right, that's when we're going to go back. I'm technically still on my break, but I figured it's Christmas. People have just been asking for car bombs, so I gave it to them. This is my little Christmas gift. All right? Oh, hi. I don't know. Oh man, this is my little Christmas gift to you guys though for being amazing. We hit 1 year back in November. We had our 1 year anniversary of Critical Reactions, and it's Christmas, so maybe next Christmas we'll look at the next most popular requested band that I haven't checked out yet. I don't know. We'll see. But with that said, everybody have a happy holidays. I hope everybody's doing well, and yeah, stay safe out there. It's getting crazy. But the craziness hopefully will come to an end soon with that vaccine coming out. So maybe I won't have to stay safe anymore. Maybe we'll see. We'll see how 2021 brings. Happy holidays, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Also, happy New Year's. I won't be here on the 1st. Hope that one works out for you guys as well. And yeah, the next time you see me, it'll be 2021, the new year. Hopefully, it'll be better than the last. You guys keep being awesome. Have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.